Hey there. So you're getting ready for the Israeli Civics exam, and if you're a new immigrant, some of those questions can feel like they're written in a completely different language, right? Well, today we're going to crack the code on one of the trickiest question types you'll face.
Okay, so we are going to talk about something called an event question. But we're not just going to talk about it. I'm going to give you a super simple step-by-step formula that you can literally use every single time to nail the answer. No guessing involved.
I get it. You're staring at this big block of text. The question seems complicated and it's just a lot. But here's the thing. It's not a secret code. It's just a pattern. And today, you and I are going to crack that pattern wide open. So here's our game plan. We're going to understand the code. I'll give you 3 magic words that are key to everything. We'll talk about how to focus, build a perfect answer together, and I'll even give you a little pro tip at the end. Let's do this.
So what is this big secret I'm talking about? Well, it's not really magic, but honestly, it kind of feels like it once you get it. It all comes down to a simple 3-part formula. Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
And here they are, your 3 magic words: specify, present, and explain. That's it. That's the whole secret. Every single one of these event questions is just asking you to do these 3 little things. Just burning this order into your brain is seriously half the battle. So let's look at what each one actually means.
Okay, first up, specify. Think of this like you're giving a title to the little story in the question. You read the paragraph and you just name the main idea. Is this whole thing about the right to protest? Is it about equality? Your only job for this step is to put a name on it. That's it. Step 1, done.
Next up, present. Now listen closely, because this is super important. Here, you give the official, dry, textbook definition of whatever you just named. This part comes from your memory, not from the story in the question. You're just proving to the person grading your test, hey, I know what freedom of speech actually means in general. It's completely separate from the story.
And number 3, the big one, explain. Now, this step actually has 2 little parts. First, you play detective. You go back into the text and pull out a direct quote, the actual words that proves your point. That's your evidence. Then, for part 2, you connect the dots. Use your own words to explain how that quote you just found is the perfect example of the definition you gave in step 2. Find the proof, then explain the proof.
All right, before we try this out on a real question, there's one thing you have to do before you even think about writing. You've got to find your focus. You need to figure out whose point of view the question actually wants you to talk about. You'll notice these questions are usually full of different people with different opinions. The government says one thing, an activist says another, some politician says a third thing. But here's the trick. The question will only ask you to explain one of their views. We'll call that person or group your stakeholder.
And that's the whole key. Read the question really carefully to see who it's pointing to. If it says, according to the artist, what right was violated, you have to completely ignore what the politician or the government said. Your entire answer has to be built from the artist's point of view. That's how you stay on track and give them exactly what they're looking for.
Okay, enough talk. Theory is nice, but let's actually see how this whole thing works in practice. We're going to take a real example and build the perfect answer together, step by step, using our magic formula. Ready? Here's our sample problem. So a new law says some people get free lawyers. The people who created the law say it's so people can properly defend themselves. Now imagine the question is, specify and present the right being promoted according to the initiators of the law. See? We found our stakeholder. Let's do it.
All right, step 1, specify. Let's think. The text talks about free legal aid, helping people defend themselves in court. What's the name for that? That's the right to a fair trial. Boom. We just named the concept. That's our first step.
Okay, on to step 2, present. Now we give that textbook definition from memory. Notice we're not talking about this specific new law. We're just saying the right to a fair trial is the principle that everyone gets a fair shot in court with a lawyer and is considered innocent until proven guilty. Perfect.
And now for step 3, explain. First part, we need the evidence. We go right back to the text and pull out the golden phrase. The law's creators said it would help a person properly defend themselves. That's our proof, copied word for word.
And for the final move, we connect it all together. We use our own words and say something like this. This quote shows that the creators of the law believe giving people free lawyers helps them defend themselves properly. And that ability to defend yourself properly is the whole point of the right to a fair trial. And that's it. You've just built a perfect answer. Okay, you have totally got the event question down now.
But before we wrap up, I want to give you one last super quick tip for a different, easier type of question that'll help you score some easy points.
So sometimes you'll get what's called a knowledge question. These are way simpler. It'll just say something like, name 2 powers of the president. It's just a memory test. But even here, there's a little trick.
And that little trick is called the N+ rule. It's a tiny bit of math that works like an insurance policy for your answers.
Here's how simple it is. If the question asks for 2 examples, you give 3. If it asks for 3 characteristics, you give 4. Always give one more than they ask for. Why? Because they grade your best answers. So if you get one of them wrong by mistake, you have a backup already there. It's a great way to protect your points.
So let's put it all together. Here is your code cracking checklist. First, always read the question and find out who your stakeholder is. Then just unleash the 3 magic words. Step 1, specify the idea. Step 2, present the official definition. And step 3, explain by first quoting your proof and then connecting it all in your own words. And there you have it. What might have looked like a confusing secret code before is really just a simple, predictable pattern. You've got the formula, you've got the steps, so the only real question is, are you ready to go crack that code?